So,
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And we are live. Greetings to our loyal WFYL listeners around the world. Welcome back to your Philadelphia live stream, only on the Freedom Station. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in once again, because you still have the right to hear and the right to be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike G. As always, with me are Philly Chris, Russ, the producer, and Liberty Lee. And you're listening to Mike G in the morning with The Law Matters. And you can listen to our program every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So let's be heard. I want to remind our listeners that you can participate in the free and open exchange of thoughts and ideas throughout the entire week by visiting MikeGinthemorning.com. What's it called, Philly Chris?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
How about you, Russ?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
Liberty?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
That is correct. You can check out all the shenanigans that Mike G and Philly Chris are up to throughout the entire week. Don't forget to like these videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your barber, tell your Uncle Jerry, tell anybody who listen to check us out at MikeGinthemorning.com. I also want to remind our listeners about the powerhouse lineup we've got here at the Freedom Station. Kick off your mornings with Scott Adams. Bring you the Scott Adams Show weekdays from 9 a.m. until 11. We've got Dan the Man Bongino. Bring you the Dan Bongino Show weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. We've got the headliner, intellectual giant Ben Shapiro. Bring you the Ben Shapiro Show weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. And finally, we love having him at the Freedom Station family. We've got Michael Knowles. Bring you the Michael Knowles Show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So don't forget to tune in and show him some love. And with that, you know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hit it, Russ.
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
So how has your week been, Philly Chris?
It's been all right, I guess, Michael. Taking it one day at a time these days,
What have you been up
taking it
to?
all in. Let's see. What have I been up to? Well, I've been using public transportation a bit lately, which has been interesting. Having a little bit of a car issue, so I decided to check out the public transportation.
A social experiment of sorts?
Kind of, in a way. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've used it, and living downtown in the city and everything, I have some experience with the subway and the train and the buses, but right now, given my car situation, I'm full on using it. But it's interesting. It's actually not bad. It takes longer, but at least I can do other things on the train with my phone and stuff like that. So
We're going to get you a MikeGinthemorning.com t-shirt to wear on the train.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Right? Get a bunch of people looking at you.
Actually, I'll just use a Sharpie and write it all over the inside of the train and the buses. Everybody else is anyway.
They won't arrest you anyhow, right?
Yeah, they'll probably arrest me, but I'll get other people to do it.
Well, wait a second. We know who you are. You, right. Sir, you get arrested.
You have things we can take from you. We'll
Isn't
arrest
that the
you.
problem with selective prosecution, though?
Yeah, big time, right? I mean, maybe I'll have to do it, in Kensington where there's no laws right now. So
when you have so many laws on the books, and you have prosecutors who look at some of these laws and say, well, I don't think it's right to actually prosecute that law. Then you run into selective prosecution where they always have that at their disposal. Or if they've got some reason why they want to prosecute you, well, we've got this on the books.
Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Show me a man and I'll show you a crime. Yeah. That's the problem with the sheer volume of criminal laws that we have in this country, both at the federal level and at the state level.
But don't we need more gun laws, Mike? We need more gun laws, right?
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on that.
Right. It's too early in the show for that, I guess.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
You know what is interesting? Last week we were talking about lawyer up and shut up, and we were talking about the aftermath of a critical incident and how these cases actually play out. Dag Nabbit had a phenomenal idea that we do a seminar called The First 48 and talk about what happens after you're involved in one of these incidents.
Good
And
idea.
I mentioned it to Law Shield, so we might actually do something. Thank you, Dag Nabbit.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up wearing, the reason why I'm wearing the tank top on the show today is I wore it over to the gym on Saturday, and I had multiple people approach me about it.
Oh, did
And
you? Good, nice. Yeah, I was going to say, are we at the gun show or something?
At first I was wearing a hoodie over it, and I just had it open, and I go to walk onto one of the treadmills, and there's this husband and wife standing there. The husband, I don't know anybody from the gym. I've never had conversations with people over there, but this is a guy that I've seen around. He's clearly been a competitive bodybuilder, and they're both reading the shirt, and they said, "Oh, thegunlawfirm.com." And I looked up and I just said, "Yeah, that's what I do. Please don't throw tomatoes at me, because you don't know where they stand, right?"
Right.
And they looked at me like, "No, we're on your side. We're on your side. Thanks for doing what you're doing."
Nice.
Good deal. And throughout the time I was there, it seemed like every time I was between sets, I had somebody come over and tap me on the shoulder and say something about it. Yeah. Nice. And I started telling them, just write into the website. We can probably get you one if you get us your size and how to get it over to you. But
move it up a little so everybody can see the whole thing. It is pretty cool.
Thegunlawfirm.com. Thegunlawfirm.com. Well, it's the tank top version of the t-shirt that I've been wearing on the program every week, including the interview that I had at the cigar shop with a fine gentleman.
Yeah.
If I may say so myself, one of the finest interviews that I've ever had the opportunity to.
Thank you. You're too kind, Michael.
But
the fine gentleman, you mean the guy out selling us the cigars, you mean, right?
Yeah, and then there's some rascal actually talking to me.
Right.
I will say this, though, with one of the gentlemen who approached me, he came over and said, "Hey, man, love your shirt," and said, "Thank you." And he went on to say, when I saw the back, which is lawyer up and shut, I said, when I saw the back, the first thing I said was, "That mother effer." He said, but then I saw the front and I thought, "Oh, he's one of the good guys. He's one of the ones with us." But I think that just kind of illustrates the misconception that some gun owners have about how you should handle these situations. Because if I had to reverse engineer, I didn't ask him why he would say that or anything. I'm in the middle of working out. I got like a minute between sets. I got to get back to work. But if I had to reverse engineer why he would say that, is I imagine he's somebody who supports law enforcement and believes that, therefore, you should never lawyer up and shut up. You should cooperate with investigations. And that lawyer up and shut up is just a way that guilty people end up being allowed to go free.
Yeah. Right.
Is that what you gather from that kind of a statement?
That possibly, or maybe just that he doesn't like lawyers, because a lot of people just don't like lawyers, right? In general, maybe. Yeah.
That's potentially it.
That was my initial thought, but then when you said what you said, that could be it too. Yeah. Because there's so many lawyers. I'm sure you hear the jokes about lawyers, right? There's all kinds of jokes.
Sure. Yeah. You want to tell some of them?
I'm not real good at remembering jokes, but I know there's, you always hear people joke. How about you? Have you heard any really funny lawyer jokes? Like,
yeah, well, my dad told me one. Said, "What do you call 1,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean in chains?" Do you know the other one?
No.
Do you know what you call 1,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean in chains?
An anchor?
A good start.
A good start. Okay. Yeah. So stuff like that. Like, exactly. And
another good lawyer joke is three guys that go to heaven. And of course, we know that this isn't the way heaven works, but it's for the purposes of the joke. And one guy is a mathematician, and St. Peter says, you can get into heaven. You only have to answer this one simple question: what is 2 + 2? And he says, well, to the extent that we're dealing with rational numbers, 2 + 2 = 4. And St. Peter says, go right on in. Next guy's the philosopher. He says, you have to answer one question: what is 2 + 2? And the philosopher goes off on this tangent about how, well, nothing is exactly finite and everything like that. 2 + 2 = 4. And he says, you can go on in. So then the lawyer comes up and St. Peter says, you can go in if you answer one simple question. What is 2 + 2? The lawyer leans in and says, what do you want it to be?
There you have it.
That's another good one. That's not so degrading, but I guess it is. It's saying that they'll do anything
Right. Yeah.
for their
exactly.
client, like if they're being paid to argue something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of them are like that. We know that. Yeah.
Russ, if you're going to be a tough guy and tell lawyer jokes in the private comments over here, you got to just get on the air and start.
Yeah. You have a microphone, man.
I have a microphone now. Okay.
You do. I can hear you. You can hear him right now.
Okay, I'm just making
sorry.
sure.
Are you
Just
talking
so-
into your? Is your armpit the one that's amplifying what your words are? Are
Yes.
you speaking into your armpit? Go ahead.
Yes.
Is it a different microphone though? It sounds different, Ross.
It is different.
I can tell. Yeah, it's definitely a little tinnier. Sound
You're
like you
tinny.
lost weight. Or
What's
something.
what's the difference between a lawyer and a mosquito?
Difference between a lawyer and a mosquito? I don't know. Do you know this one, Mike?
I do, just because he said it in the private chat, so I want to answer it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Russ. What is it?
All right. They are both blood-sucking parasites, but one has a briefcase.
Oh, okay. All right. That's the mosquito, right? They carry
The
briefcase.
mosquito with a briefcase.
Mike, do you have a briefcase?
I suppose I do. I don't know if I would call it a briefcase. When I think of briefcase, I think of one of those harder,
A briefcase of the cold?
boxy rectangle type things with a little handle. That's what I think of when I think of a briefcase.
That's called a briefcase, Mike.
No, I understand.
But
Mine is a little bit more malleable. Chris, you've seen the bag that I.
You have more of a nice leather briefcase that's not square and hard, basically.
Does
right?
it have wheels?
It does not have wheels.
No.
I'd class it as a briefcase then.
It has a shoulder strap.
I don't know if it's considered a briefcase or a bag, or maybe it's a satchel of sorts. A man bag.
It's a rucksack.
It's a pocketbook.
Yeah, it's like a giant pocketbook. Yeah.
Joke's on you, Russ. I don't use a briefcase. I use a pocketbook.
Or as Stack said in the comments, a merce.
It's like a laptop bag.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's more.
That makes me a lawyer.
I don't think like the briefcase is kind of old school, right? Like I don't think it looks as good now. My dad always had a briefcase as an accountant, and he'd sit there and plop it down and flip the lid up, and he had a million mechanical pencils and stuff flying out of it because it was always jam packed with paperwork. But I couldn't see you carrying like that style. I think that's kind of out now, right? Am I wrong? Or am I judging?
I don't see them very often.
Right. Although they're functional, though.
Are they, though? Can you keep a laptop in there?
I guess you could. Nowadays, depending on which laptop you had, you could probably keep one in there. It would take up a good amount of room, in there. But it actually would keep it safer, though. You could argue it's a much better bag or case to put it in, because the soft bags, a lot of people break their machines in those.
Really? That's something else.
Broken screens, yeah. Especially the Apples. They break pretty easy,
Interesting.
Almost by design. I wouldn't say that's by design.
This is all by design. That's a Billy Chris famous saying.
Right. They're pretty fragile for
the briefcase conspiracy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the briefcase conspiracy?
Well, back in 1934, they decided to extinguish the hard-cased briefcase.
There are quite a few conspiracies. Well, are they conspiracies if they turn out to be true, right? I think we could just call them rumors, right? There are rumors going out there about a lot of things.
Rumors. Yeah. And there are, definitely theories about conspiracies. And then sometimes those theories turn into factual conspiracies. I think we've seen quite a bit of that in the past, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe.
Well, let's do some good old-fashioned discussion of some things that are inarguable. And then argue about those. So,
it turns out the sky isn't blue. So
well, let's talk a little bit about what happened yesterday evening. So, for those of you who did not follow this, you had the Republican primary debates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump, who is running for president as a Republican, right, is involved in that primary, decided not to show up for the debate. And instead, an interview with him and Tucker Carlson aired on X, formerly Twitter,
When did
at the
that
same
change,
time.
by the way, to X?
A couple of weeks ago, probably.
Okay. I was going to say I felt a little out of it because I went to check it out and it came up as X, and I didn't even know that happened. So
Yeah, I saw that Elon had announced, hey, in the next coming days, we're going to change this over to X, and then it was X.
Mm-hmm.
But the interview aired at the same time as the debate, and it's my suspicion that an exponentially higher number of people watched that interview than watched the debate.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Are the numbers out on that? I haven't.
I think they did Super Bowl type numbers.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
Liberty could probably tell us. I know that at one point I looked and it was 70-something million views.
How many? 70 million?
70-something million views.
Wow.
Super Bowl is like 100 million territory. And this was like within the first hour, it was at 70-something million
That's
views.
impressive, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this thing did Super Bowl type numbers for people who watched that interview.
I mean, in this day and age, that's a crazy number with all the alternatives people have, yeah.
And I've had people recently who did not vote for Donald Trump in 2016 or 2020 say that they'd be okay if he's the president.
What's that? Say it again, Mike.
They'd be okay if he's the president next time around.
People who did not vote for him?
Who did not vote for him.
Yeah, I'm hearing more people come out and say that now, yeah.
Because they simply preferred life when he was around. Liberty says it's at 242 million views now.
Wow.
Think about that. That's crazy.
That's more than every adult in the United States. So I guess a lot of international people watched it too. Or
Russ says the Trump interview was an upload while the Republican debate was live. You could talk on that thing that you don't want to call a microphone if you've got comments.
Yeah, sure.
What is a microphone?
Go ahead. What's your gripe, Russ?
Depends on how you define
it. It's not a gripe. It's just those are measured in two different ways because as far as a video that's uploaded goes, you get so many views, whereas if somebody views for 20 to 30 seconds, that counts as a view. And
does it really though? I don't think it does.
I have no idea how it works. I was just pulling numbers out of my butt.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's however many seconds counts as a view. And then as far as live stuff goes, it's a different metric because you have live viewers that are unique. You have live concurrent viewers. There's a live chat that gets mixed into that. So you have participating viewers. There's a lot more that goes into a live presentation than what goes into an upload.
Okay, so let's say that 10%.
And the upload was no doubt.
Let's say
the upload was no doubt perfectly cut so that
million.
Trump always looked good. Whereas the people doing live, they had every opportunity at their disposal to make a fool of themselves.
I don't think that has anything to do with what we're talking about, because what we're talking about is what people are interested in, right? Are people interested in watching these other guys? Or are they interested in watching Donald Trump?
Like just overall views, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Did you watch either of them, Philly Chris?
I actually logged into Twitter and then saw the whole X logo, and I started watching, but I was so exhausted. I was doing.
You thought it was a dirty website when you saw the X, and you said, "Oh no, I gotta get out of here."
I got hacked again.
I got hacked.
Oh,
This dirty website. Now this dirty website has
Maybe
my Twitter
maybe
password.
I wouldn't have fallen asleep
Jeez.
then, but I literally I was in New York for a few days and had traveled back really early yesterday, so I had a long day, and I literally fell asleep like 10 minutes into it. So I still need to check it out. But
Oh no, great! So now I got to have an hour-long conversation with myself about the debate in the interview.
Russ and Liberty can jump in, but I saw a little bit of it. So yeah,
It's not like we're a conservative talk radio show.
I know, right?
It's not.
It's like
not,
I better watch this.
Not like it's a priority to watch the Republican debate or the Trump interview with 242 million views.
Right. Apparently, I wasn't.
Almost everybody in the country has seen the interview except for Lee Chris.
Pretty much, yeah.
Every man, woman, and child in the United States watched the Tucker Carlson Donald Trump interview.
242 million.
But Billy Chris fell asleep.
Yeah, I was tired, Mike. I apologize.
Russ, what did you watch?
I tuned into the Republican debate, and I knew a few of the characters, didn't know a whole bunch of them existed, and I lost interest probably about a quarter of the way through. I don't know how long it ran, but it was a good, 45 minutes before I'm like, okay, I'm bored.
What'd you do after that?
I watched something else on YouTube.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I'm just checking to see. Yeah, right.
I was hanging out with Liberty and decided to throw on but definitely watch the Trump interview, and then turned on the debate, and I was eating something. And this guy comes on the screen, and Liberty says, "Who the heck is that? Who the heck is that guy?"
Is it
I almost spit out all my food. And I was thinking, that is a good point. This is the Republican debate. You're on a conservative talk radio show. You have no idea who this guy is.
Right. That's
it almost seems like they found out Trump wasn't coming, and they wanted to field 9 guys out there like a baseball team. They needed some warm bodies. They called some random guy up. They said, "Hey, we got is DeSantis, Christie, and Pence. What are you doing? Do you have plans tonight? Can you show up? Help us out?"
Get your name out there.
I was talking to Rich about it because there's Asa Hutchinson is one who you don't see all the time. At least you know the name. But this other guy, North Dakota, I want to say. And I was talking to Rich about it because Rich is very, very, very much into politics.
Yeah.
And he knows everybody. And he said, even me, I didn't even know who that guy was.
That's interesting. I'll have to check it out now. Yeah, I haven't seen any of it. Yeah.
So who are the people that we would know, the players? I'm interested to hear, what does the crowd think? What does the Mike G in the Morning family think? First, did you watch the debate? If you did watch the debate, who do you think came out looking good? For some reason, my chat is not working right now.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's
not working on yours either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you mentioned something about Stack, and I
do have my phone. I always have my phone up as like a backup, so I'm seeing it on there. But
okay. Well, I'll have to just I'll have to pull it up that way.
Yeah.
Since we're having technical difficulties.
Rita said she didn't watch it.
Let's see.
Mosquitoes have wings.
Petrolino says that Trump just arrived at Fulton County Jail. That's another entire debacle, right?
Yeah.
With this whole Georgia case. Yeah, Giuliani taking mud shots and a bunch of the other folks.
Yeah, it's pretty wild what's going on with that.
Yeah.
I think he'd be smart to actually he should let them put him in jail.
Yeah.
And then like have the Secret Service like literally take over the prison and have him. It would only garner more support for him.
I believe that's also something that Dan Bongino was saying is Trump should stay in jail, don't post bail, and there'll be huge protests and stuff outside, and they'll have to lock down the whole place for the Secret Service and everything because he cited some rule somewhere that the president or former president has to be surrounded by Secret Service like at all time, and
yeah, it's a very unusual.
It would cause a lot of mayhem.
Yeah, well, I think that they do. I don't know much about it, but if Dan Bongino was talking about it, obviously he would know. But you get that for life. I don't know if I think even if you were, I don't know how that works. If you're quote unquote convicted of a crime, but you're still a former president. So I would assume they have authority over that.
Yeah, what do we think about this in general? Because they asked some people over that at the debate, is this or these political prosecutions, and where do we go from here? Right? If he comes out unscathed, do we see Biden get prosecuted, both Joe and Hunter? Is this just going to be normal? Because I was concerned about that with the impeachment. You go the impeachment witch hunt, the impeachment hoax.
Right.
The
I
perfect
hate
phone
to say
call.
it, but I think they're all, on both sides of the political landscape. I think they're all just kind of above the law at the end of the day, it seems like.
Well, when the first impeachment happened when Trump was in office, what came to my mind is, well, is this how it's going to work from now on? Whenever one party doesn't like the guy and they have the opportunity, they're just going to impeach the president.
Right.
We haven't seen that so far. We've heard rumblings about it. We haven't seen it. And it's not because there's just nothing to get Biden on. He's squeaky clean. I can't imagine. You can't tell me that's the reason, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. I mean, it's probably all Russian disinformation.
The difference between him and Trump is that Biden did nothing wrong. That's why they're not impeaching him. The Republicans, particularly the establishment Republicans, have always played by this different set of rules, have they not?
Yeah.
They've always sort of taken this attitude, we're not going to stoop to their level. And Trump was really the first guy who was like, no, forget that,
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're kind of done with that. Yeah.
You're gonna take the gloves off. I'm taking the gloves off. Let's go.
He's definitely good at that. That's for sure.
And I think that people were happy to see that. One of the reasons people liked him.
Oh, absolutely. And they still definitely like him for that. Definitely doesn't hold back, and that's for sure. Let me see what we got in the comments here.
Jeremy says, would you advise Trump to not post bail if you were his attorney? That seems like bad advice. Stack says, seeing it while watching Tim Pool seems like a whole stage of neocon war pigs. Vivek was the only one who seemed sensible. I think.
Hey now.
I think Vivek definitely walked away looking like the winner. As far as that debate goes, in my opinion, he smoked everybody on that stage.
He's an interesting guy. I've seen his commercials, and I like a lot of what he says. What do you think of him?
To his credit, he does a ton of media. He'll go on anybody's show. He did Bill Maher's show. He'll talk to anybody. He's a sharp guy.
He's pretty eloquent. He's a good orator.
He's a sharp guy. And I think one of the reasons why he walked away looking like he smoked everybody is, first of all, he's pretty young. He's not a politician. And so this was the first time he was out there on a debate stage with people. And because he looked that good compared to everybody else, multiply that by 10 because he's that young and has no experience with politics, debate, and everything like that.
He's pretty charismatic.
I think he came away looking great. He came away looking great. It
was how old is he?
Strange because I think he's 38.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There was one point where Chris Christie said something to him, like his knock on Vivek was something like, well, you're not and I also found out that it's Vivek. It's not Vivek. Vivek, yeah. Chris Christie's knock on him was something along the lines of, well, you don't know anything. You've never worked in the government. And I was like, who's going to tell this guy? Who's going to tell him that the fact that he's never worked in the government might be his number one qualification?
Yeah, right.
Voices,
funny how they don't see that. It's like,
who's going to tell him?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for reminding everyone
these
that
guys
I actually
like
didn't.
Christie and these guys like Pence who were on the stage, they're delusional. They're absolutely delusional. Mike Pence is up there.
People hate Mike Pence now.
He's up there saying, well, when I'm elected president of the United States. And I said, bro, if there is 1% of anything in your body that truly believes that you will be elected president, then you belong in a mental institution.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Plain and
exactly.
simple. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
But,
He probably couldn't get elected for anything at this point. You know what I mean? Like, seriously,
I
right?
can't take full credit for this, but my buddy Andy is saying, I said, this guy says when I'm elected president, is he on crack? And Andy said, oh, no, Mike. He meant when he's elected president of the Knights of Columbus in Toledo.
Yeah, that maybe.
He didn't mean president of the United States.
Even they're going to say no, probably. They're going to be like, no, we're
Send
really
him
not
back,
interested.
Back and run for dog catcher in Toledo.
Yeah. No, some people, I don't know how they do it, man. I don't know how they
Does
get up.
Chris
in front of
Christie
any
really
people.
think he has a shot?
He's also delusional if he thinks so, I guess, right? I mean,
It's crazy.
People
got
have
booed
disdain
so
for these
hard.
guys.
That's another thing. I wish we could get clips of that. Clips of how hard they booed Chris Christie
last night.
Yeah, they booed him out of the building. They booed him out of the building. They had to stop the moderators had to stop the debate to ask people to stop booing Chris Christie so they could get on with it. They turned around and they're like, we're not going to have any time left.
We're going to lose it.
If you keep booing Chris Christie out of the building, we're not going to have any time left for anything else.
If everyone could please be nice.
Stop booing Chris Christie out of the building. You know what, though? He would be one tremendous professional wrestler. He would. Can you imagine him as a heel if he's getting that kind of heat?
Yeah,
those kinds of boos when he's not even trying.
Good point. Maybe Russ, could you find that clip? Maybe it's got to be out there. Somebody had to put that on YouTube, right?
Hey, boo Chris Christie.
Yeah.
It was so loud.
Come on, Russ.
So loud.
Please look it up, would you?
If he came walking past that Titantron in the World Wrestling Entertainment Company,
he's texting no in the private chat. Russ, come on, you can find it. You're not using your mic that much anyway. Put your hot pocket down and go look that up, would you? Please do a little producing. Oh, busy eating pizza. Okay, sorry to interrupt your cheesy bread.
Mindy says Vivek was good. Unfortunately, he's flip-flopped on the mandates and used to own a farm company.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Stack says the Boo Birds were out heavy when Pence spoke. What about the hands up for those who would support Trump as a candidate?
I heard something about that. Somebody was telling me about that.
Yeah. There was one. Looked like some people were kind of late to the game. Like they were taking a look around and seeing what everybody else did. When they asked the question. Vivek was the only one who threw it up right away. I think.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Okay. He may be putting himself in line for a VP slot. He says he's not. He says that wouldn't be a good role for him. But
I mean, with how much people care for Trump, I guess it'd be a smart move to just put your hand up, right? But also, people should.
It's interesting that the one guy is Trump wasn't even there, and it still became mostly about Trump.
Yeah, so how do you say it again? Vivek? What were you saying, Mike? Vivek. I have heard him speak several times, and I like a lot of what he says. I don't know a ton about him, though. He's like a business guy, right? Entrepreneur or something?
Yes. Billionaire.
Yeah.
Owned a pharma company.
Yeah, well, that's that's kind of a concern. Yeah. Well, maybe he's
I don't know. Can we just assume that is bad because he owned a pharma company?
I guess it depends on what he has to say about that.
Pharma company like cured malaria or something like that. I don't know. There's not all drugs are bad, right?
Well, no, not all of them. But
one of my best friends has diabetes. The medicine he takes is good.
Yeah,
right. Not going to be around without it.
Right. Yeah, there are some. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what he has to say about what's happened.
Maybe statistically, it wouldn't be good. Right. Maybe if you had to take a wild guess, maybe it's a red flag. We'll put it.
I don't know enough about him, but listening to some of his speeches and interviews, like you said, it seems like he's making himself quite available. Publicly. So, and some of his responses to people in like those town hall kind of meetings were pretty good. I thought on the spot responses. Drugs are bad. Nice reference stacks. Yeah, drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Russ does that one good. If
that's
wasn't busy.
something Russ is pretty good at.
Liberty says he was the punching bag, which means he was winning, and I felt he was trying to beat to VP audition.
Is this heart thing new? It's cool. I can see. I don't know who's doing it, but thank you, whoever's hitting the heart thing there. But that's kind of cool. It actually shows up. Can everybody see that, or just us?
I don't know.
Hit the heart, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Smash that heart button. I do. I feel loved. Liberty's saying I feel loved. I do.
So we're getting updates from the people in the comments. Petrolino says, just in, Trump surrenders.
So if Trump,
Georgia jail, she has it on mute.
I'm still sticking with my theory that Trump will be the next president. But if he was not an option, who would people vote for after watching the debate?
That's what Haley was saying. She said, I support Trump and everything, but he's going to be dealing with court battles, and he's not going to be in a good position to be fighting for the presidency. We can't afford to lose.
It's interesting how much he can handle.
Who's your second choice?
For me?
Yeah, who's your second choice?
Probably Hillary.
Do you still think she's going to be the Democrat candidate?
I don't know. I'm starting to think it might be. I was saying that before, and it's still likely.
You have said that. It's written down on a piece of paper that I kept in a box. That's one night when you made all
this
those
was
predictions.
A very early prediction if I were to put some weight on that. But I still think it's highly likely. But I'm hearing a lot about Michelle, though. Michelle Obama maybe stepping up to the plate there. But I think Hillary's being quiet, and I think that's interesting. And I think, at some point she's going to make an appearance,
Definis says Michelle Obama. DG says Michelle Obama. Wow. There was some word.
I just read the Penn Patriots comment. There's been some more stuff about
Penn
that
Patriots
going on.
Not alone. There have been two of the same comment. Minnie chimed in.
I don't know if we want to get into it, but a lot of people have been bringing that topic up again.
No, we don't want to get.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that. I guess
everybody can.
I'm just saying what I've heard. What I've heard on the street. Well, they were talking about like that whole Joan Rivers thing. You know about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that Joan Rivers is dead. I'm aware
she's
of that.
dead. A lot of people are dead, Mike.
Joan Rivers is dead.
It's interesting how some people just die.
Yeah. Anyhow, but there was, I think it was Alex Jones said right before the 2016 election that Hillary was going to bow out at the last second for health reasons, and they were going to thrust Michelle Obama in there in her place.
Okay.
Obviously, that didn't happen.
Right.
You're thinking that it's going to happen. If you had to pick three people who might be the nominee on the Democrat side, who would it be?
Yeah, Hillary, Michelle, and let me think about that for a third one.
I have a third one in my mind. If I had to pick the top three, well, I don't know that I wasn't thinking Michelle. I wasn't thinking Michelle. I was thinking Hillary, Gavin Newsom, but then I have a third one. So who's your third one?
Gavin Newsom's interesting, but don't people just really despise him on both sides of the fence? I mean, he's just so creepy. He's very slimy. I don't know that there's anybody like in that echelon that I could compare to for a third place, so I'm not really sure. No. Yeah, go ahead.
Joe Biden. Right?
Well, I mean, I figured we were assuming he wasn't going to be running or something. But yeah, of course. I mean, he probably would, right?
Do you think that he is going to run?
Well,
he's running as of now, but do you think he's going to be the guy?
No, I don't think so. I think with all the health stuff that, and the Sleepy Joe, and I mean, he just fell asleep the other day when he was
looking down at the comments, and Penn Patriot and Dag Nabbit said Newsom as well. So
yeah, maybe Newsom. I don't think they could put Joe back out there. If it's going to be against Trump, there's no way. I think Michelle or Hillary, Hillary or Michelle could give him a run for their money based on the support that they have. So I think that the Democratic Party would be, and with all the stuff that's now come out about the Bidens. So I don't think he'll be in the running, but could be
who would
wrong.
be your second choice? Well, is Trump your first choice?
I think Trump will be the next president. I really do.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Trump were not an option, who would you choose personally? Michelle Obama?
Yeah, she definitely has my vote. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just flipping sides. I'm so fed up with everything. I might as well. Maybe somehow that vote will get to Trump instead
Guys,
of,
I'm not talking much, but the Trump mugshot just dropped.
Oh, really? For real?
Well, maybe
Yeah.
Russ can put down his pizza and get it on the screen.
Yeah. Put that hot pocket down, Russ.
Now, let's take I bet people have already seen it. If you haven't seen it, don't look at it. Let's play a little bit of a game.
Okay.
How do you think his mannerism is in the photo? Do you think he smiles? Do you think he glares? What do you think?
I think he would smile.
Because the Rudy was like, I mean business. I'm going to come get you when I'm done with all this. You think he smiled? If he smiles, I think that would be classic.
I think
Okay.
so too. I think he would smile, yeah.
Somebody just said it was fake because he was wearing a red tie today. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, guys. It's a
I'd be
conspiracy.
surprised if something like that got released or whatever. But I mean, did he?
Well, no, they've been
technically
releasing all of them. I think the Fulton
Yeah.
County mugshots are
Hmm.
public record.
Interesting.
When did he?
People are saying no smile, no emotion.
Hmm.
To finish land and dag nabbit. And Rita. I think he will look stern. I don't even, the stern look would kind of make sense too, but I think it would be more classic though, like you said, Mike, if he threw on that smile of his and kind of.
Petrolino said like he's on The Apprentice. He looks sad. Yeah, I would, if it were me, if I were in that situation.
Yeah, what would you do?
The Trump exact situation, I'd go big smile.
Big smile.
Like you guys are not gonna break me.
Right. That's kind of why I was saying that too. I think
Because
that's
some of these other people in the shots look dejected and everything like that.
right. Yeah, you don't want to come across like they're getting over on you. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah, I mean, different reasons for each appearance. Yeah.
8 minutes says he was booked.
Did you find it, Russ? Is it real? Is Russ looking at that or not?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Russell. You can do it. We have faith in you.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any. I wonder
Are you looking?
if we could just go on the website itself.
Oh, well, that would be a good way to verify the source, I guess.
Right.
Let's see
Yeah, I don't know.
here. See mugshots in Trump's Georgia case.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't tell because I have a tiny screen I'm working with.
DG
I can't
says,
tell what's AI generated and what's real.
Right.
DG says, I wish he would be wearing a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt. That's
Oh,
classic.
that'd be
That
pretty
would
funny. Yeah. That'd be pretty classic.
Stax says, flipping the bird. Who else? So who would be your choice if not Donald Trump? I know you said that you believe he will be the president. Who would be your choice if not Donald Trump?
Ooh.
Out of the other people running right now, I mean, actually, this.
Well, let's say that you don't even have to limit it to that.
Yeah. There's not a lot of other people out there, I think, who could really do what we need right now. This Vivek guy, though, from what I've seen of him, I want to learn more about him. I find what he's, talking about and his beliefs pretty compelling. And, the fact that he hasn't been in politics and he's a business guy. So there's some things I like about him, but I don't really know him that well at all. So I'm not sure, but. And
well, could we do like process of elimination? Would you vote for Chris Christie?
Absolutely not.
Would you vote for Mike Pence?
Absolutely not.
Would you vote for Ron DeSantis?
I don't think so. I mean, there are some things I do like about him, but after some of the more recent things he's done and said, and I don't know. I think I talk about the digital currency on the show a lot, and that's a big concern I have. And I like the fact that he's come out publicly against it. I think he even did some sort of executive order down there under his capacity. But I also think it's more just for appearances, because he can't, unless the state were to secede from the union or something, I don't think he could really do anything about it. So I think he's just doing certain things for appearances. But
these are all fake.
Yeah, they got to be fake, right?
Yes,
so,
they're
but
all
I don't know.
fake.
This Vivek, I think the Vivek guy's going to go far. Actually, I think he'll be somebody to keep an eye on. So that's
Who
just
else?
a gut
Would you
feeling.
would you ever vote for Nikki Haley?
I don't think so.
Would you ever vote for Tim Scott?
Tim Scott? No, I don't even know really much about Tim Scott. Yeah, I'm just going to write your name in, Mike, just for fun.
Would you vote for Asa Hutchinson?
Sure, why not? I'm going to vote for Russ.
Did I leave anybody off?
Vote for Slick Willie.
I think the only guy I
Slick
left
Willie's
off is the
coming
one
back.
who I don't know his name in the first place. So it's not like I can't remember his name. It's that I never
Right.
knew his name.
Yeah.
Let's look it up. Republican debate 2023 participants.
Let's see who's listed there. But, then again, this Vivek guy kind of came out of nowhere, and it's interesting the support he has. So, I'm optimistic.
Does he
but
really have
cautious.
support, though?
It seems like he does, because he's kind of everywhere. I guess maybe he's self-funding.
Well,
I don't know.
I think he's getting out there and getting onto these shows, agreeing to do them. He's just outworking everybody.
Yeah,
I
That's the way
believe
I
he's
see
the
it.
only candidate that isn't Trump that's breaking double digits.
There's something interesting about that. The fact that he kind of came out of nowhere. It's almost like Obama. Remember how Obama just suddenly came out of nowhere? So I'm a little bit. I'm optimistic, but I'm also cautious when these people like him just show up on the scene. He's so he's very polished. I find it compelling that somebody like that just shows up, and maybe there's something else behind that. I don't
Watch
know.
the interview with him and Bill Maher on Club Random.
Okay.
It's a long form interview. It's Democrat host, so he's going to try to challenge him on a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a laid back setting. It's not like a soundbite short interview on the news. So got Asa Hutchinson, Chris Christie, Mike Pence, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Burgum. Burgum's the guy that I didn't know his name in the first place.
So I have a question for Denise in your comments. I read that he was connected to Big S there. Is that Vivek or whatever you're talking about, Denise? Because that would be interesting. That would sort of almost be in line with my comment I was making there a minute ago.
What did DG say?
Take a look at DG's comment. I don't want to say the one name just because of the attention that draws, but you can't see the comments, can you?
I'm not
Pretty sure YouTube's having a stroke.
I turned it to all comments, though. I wonder if that one got filtered. That would be interesting.
Instead of Jeremy says, apparently when I write someone in, they get elected, so I'll be writing in Mike G. That's the Jeremy Miller election plan, right?
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Miller, when he wrote himself in and got elected, he was in a three-way tie with.
That's right.
It was a three-way tie between Jeremy Miller, man. Bugs Bunny, and somebody else. I forget.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Denise and I are kind of on the same page with that one.
I'm not
just
seeing
sort of get this. If you click on those those little lines next to the X, like under the video, those lines, and then you click on that.
It's a suppressed comment.
Yeah, see, I had a feeling. You know why? Because read that, and I don't like self-censorship, but with some of the issues we've had,
Wow. So that name in and of itself.
Yeah, right. Isn't that interesting?
That's wild.
Well, see, that it's like, to me, that carries a lot of weight, right? Like, why? Right?
Why is that? censored in and of itself. That's bananas.
Like that.
That's
right?
bonkers that name is censored.
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh
Yeah,
my
of course
goodness.
it is. Yeah.
I mean, how can we got to come up with a code name then,
A
right?
nickname, right? Yeah.
A nickname.
Well, remember that one crazy outfit he was wearing in the one meeting? Like, looked like he was on Star Trek or something,
No,
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But there's can we use if you say that name
The
and start it
Overlord,
with a
maybe.
Z and
It's
take
probably
off
too
the
close.
last letter? You think it's too
Probably
close?
I don't know. I'm being
Right?
more careful than I used to be just because I don't want to cause issues for the show like I have in the past, But,
yeah, we got to come up with something.
the Grand Overmaster.
No.
I don't know.
We got to come up with some kind of nickname. You can give your suggestions for nicknames in the comments.
Yeah.
How about that? Let's
Yeah,
make everybody vote.
maybe Denise can come up with the nickname since she was right on target with the comment there. So yeah, I mean,
Mindy says Christie compared Vivek to Obama, not even close. And Vivek said,
what was that?
Vivek's response was, "Why don't you come over here and give me a hug so I can get elected," or something like that.
Oh man,
That was great. Smoke.
well that and Obama won twice, so maybe that's not such a bad strat.
Yeah.
George.
You do remember that though, right? When Christie hugged Obama during the Hurricane Sandy thing, and people were saying that the fact that he did that's really what put Obama over and everything. So that he was like getting along with Republicans and great leader in time of need and all this other stuff.
I thought he was polishing Obama's shoe with his tongue. That was a hug.
Crazy.
Wow.
Very
Curious. How about Curious George?
That might work.
Curious George? Is the audience in agreement? How about that? What do you think of that new nickname, Curious George?
I don't even know what name you guys are talking about. I can't find it.
Denise said George S. Brother. George S. Brother. Onion.
It sounds like the way Hulk Hogan.
Darth Vader. I kind of like that one.
It sounds
Darth
like
Vader.
the way Hulk Hogan would refer to him.
Darth Vader
Wow.
might be good.
Okay.
I kind of like the Darth Vader one Mindy put in there. Hey now.
Brother George.
Boy George. Boy George. What do you think of Boy George?
Chris, you're gonna get us copyright stricken for breathing that way.
Come on, man.
Do you know about Boy George?
What about Boy George?
Do you know Boy George?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember.
That could be a nickname.
Boy George. Yeah, actually, I kind of like that one.
Boy George.
Boy George. Yeah.
What do you guys think? Curious George, Boy George.
Either Darth Vader or Boy George. I think. Yeah. Maybe you can do it. Can you do a poll? Or
I get Darth Vader, but it's just too abstract of a connection for people who are not part of the current Mike G in the morning family.
I got you.
I think you can more easily make the connection if we leave something in there. You know what I mean?
George Redacted. That's pretty creative, Stacks. George Redacted.
George Redacted. Or we'll just have Russ add in beeps every time we say his name.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. Yeah.
No.
George Redacted.
We can
Chris,
do that
why
as
are
a
you coughing
joke.
So much lately.
What?
Me?
I think you need to go to a doctor. I was rewatching our interview at the cigar shop the other day, and every time I start to talk about something, you're like,
when I get laughing really hard, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
every time we were telling jokes, you're like dying. We had to get out the defibrillator.
Maybe clear. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Maybe I should get a physical. This is what happens when you stop smoking. See?
Liberty says you also blow your nose when you wash your hands. Is that true?
I do tend to do that, but I wash my hands again though. But sometimes I want to have clean hands to get around my face. But then
you've made
I do wash
dirty,
after.
so you got to do it again.
Yeah.
And then you stay in there for like an hour because you have to blow the nose, wash the hands, blow the nose, wash the hands.
It is true though.
Wow.
Even like when I go to
Don't
the bathroom,
forget to turn the
I
page.
usually wash my hands first in the men's room. Maybe I got
Petrolino says not Orwell, George Orwell.
George, yeah, sure. It's like the complete opposite, yeah.
George, And who is another famous George?
George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle. Good one.
Georgia.
Don't. No.
Are you gonna
No.
get a
Stop it.
copyright strike?
Yeah, right. Curious George is good.
Who else?
Master George, I don't know.
Who's another George?
King George.
King George.
King George.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I like Boy George.
Boy, I
King-
kind of like that
King
one because
George.
it's a
Boy George.
I don't
comical
understand your old
spin.
people reference.
Wait, so who's got a connection to Boy George?
Payback. I think that's what she was saying, right, Denise? Pretty sure she confirmed that at some point. Which again, I find it in sort of compelling or interesting or curious, however you want to say it, that he has been out there as much as he has, and he's quite polished, and he's saying all the right things, and there is that connection with Big Pharma. So I don't know. Yeah.
Russ, you keeping an eye on those mugshots?
I think he's
What?
eating again.
So
Saw we
aside
moved
from,
past
can you
that.
think of anybody who wasn't on that stage who would be a better candidate?
No.
Chris?
Not really off the top of my head, no.
No. It was kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
I will say the debate was kind of pathetic.
Was it? Yeah, I still have to watch it. Yeah.
Because who legitimately do you think, let's say Trump is out of the picture. Vivek, sounds like we got too many question marks for you to make a decision right now. But,
yeah, and I think
so let's say he's out of there. Out of everybody else, is there anybody in there who you'd be excited to vote for?
Not really. I mean, it's not a great showing in a lot of ways. I think we need more people who are not, these lifelong politicians, but I don't think too many people are going to come out of the woodwork right now and put themselves out there with, the likelihood that Trump will still be in the running, because who's going to
That's true.
run against him right now, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But who would be good? Like, if you're like, oh man, this guy could be really good for the country if he did.
Honestly, I can't really think of anybody that comes to mind. I mean, I'm sure there's some great people out there who probably we don't even know who they are, but
Liberty says no one. We need to get we
Yeah.
need someone else. Trump changed the game, the format of debates. Nothing will be the same.
I mean, the only person I think that could compete with Trump is someone just, in a lot of ways similar to him. Maybe, another high-level business person who's got a track record of performance and, is just got a strong personality. I mean, it'd have to be somebody a lot like him, I think, that maybe we sort of
Who's
know
like
about.
him?
But yeah, well, that's the thing. Nobody's quite like him, but I mean, a lot of people would argue they want a more polished version of him. I think that's why people like DeSantis. But, when you're going up against these world leaders, do you really want that polished individual as opposed to somebody who is going to be as brass and
Yeah,
harsh
I
as
almost think
them,
that his strength.
Yeah.
Maybe that's maybe some consider that a weakness, but it's also a strength.
Yeah, I mean, you're going up against these other world leaders like, Putin and
Polished
Kim
equals
Jong-un.
fake, doesn't it?
It is completely, and that's another concern I have to some degree with Vivek, because he's pretty polished, and I mean, look back at Obama too. Like, people loved him and they voted because they're this and that, but at the end of the day, he was a lot of smoke and mirrors, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but that's the problem with the whole political landscape. Really, it's a pretty broken system at this point.
Mike Pence just screams politician every time he talks.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's
like you look up politician in the dictionary.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to even listen to him. Yeah, take him serious.
Do you really think there's anything in him that thinks that he's got a shot?
I don't think
really?
So. I mean, maybe, but how could he though? Right? If you look at any numbers, if you're logical at all, and you look at the metrics around, his performance and how people feel about him, but some of these people are just so insulated and they're narcissistic, and I guess they think that people like them more than They do. I don't know.
Well, I'll say
Why
it
else?
like this. When Mike Pence was up there saying, "When I am president," the
Yeah.
thought that crossed my mind was, number one, that if even 1% of anything in his body thinks that is true, then
Right.
this man belongs in a mental
Yeah.
institution.
Yeah. Right.
Another thing that crossed my mind was that Mike Pence thinking that he's going to be the president of the United States is just about as ridiculous as me believing that I will be the starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers next season.
I can't wait to see you on
If
the
I
field
got on
next
this
year, Mike.
program and started saying, when I'm the center for the Los Angeles Lakers next season, what would you guys say?
I'd say, hey man, I have full faith in you. Like, keep it up.
Guys are
Yeah, right.
Mike G's gone bonkers,
It's
right?
not crazy. Start saying that every week, though. To see what happens.
I believe.
Well, it's typical of a true politician, I think, like you said, and it's like they're trained to say it that way. Like to show some sort of overt, confidence.
Zach says
but
they're
it's-
up there for the campaign donations.
Yeah,
Matt, do you
well,
know about how that works with the financing and everything? So the money goes into account. Does it ever go to their benefit if they don't win?
I don't
How does it
think
work?
so, but I don't know.
What happens?
I don't know the.
What happens if he gets these donations, he doesn't spend a whole lot of money, and then he bows out? Then what?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but maybe I
Why
don't
don't you
think they
pop
get
that into
it.
Google real quick? What happens?
Maybe they just enjoy the whole being on the road and campaigning. It's kind of like a way to travel the country on your, the dime of
What
your.
happens to campaign contributions after
Yeah,
elections?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Permissible uses include charitable donations and donations to other candidates, while personal use is prohibited. Campaigns may refund donors. They raise millions and billions for themselves, and this is from Investopedia.com for anybody who's curious.
Investopedia. Hey,
Candidates
now.
raise millions and billions for themselves and through political action committees during political campaigns. There are rules in place for how money can be used after a campaign ends. Permissible uses include charitable donations and donations to other candidates, while personal use is prohibited. Campaigns may refund money to donors or redistribute it with their permission if they drop out. Super PACs may use leftover campaign cash to support the same candidate in other elections. So here's another interesting question. Personal use is a no-no, but can Mike Pence hire Mrs. Pence for the campaign and she gets paid a bunch of money and it's all going to the same place?
Probably,
What do you think?
and of course you can hire your campaign manager and then somebody to drive your bus and your private plane and all that stuff, and the meals get paid for and your travel and
BC 2208 seems to know a bit about the topic. Says if you suspend your campaign instead of ending it, you can hold the funds forever for future runs. But what can you do with that? Can you pay Mrs. Pence to run your campaign?
The problem is at the end of the day, it's millions and millions of dollars, and I'm sure they find a way to funnel it to places that benefit the people around them and to some degree themselves. And hey, if you can invest the money and let it sit for a future run, then if you invest it properly, it could turn into quite a bit of money, I would imagine.
Saying that Trump is making a statement right now. It sure would be nice if we get it on here, but
yeah,
I'm working on it.
Okay.
We got faith in you, Russ. Come on.
Defendant says Pence is an AI robot.
He may be. He is very robotic, actually. That's pretty good comparison. Yeah.
A robot, yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's just so, that way. It's very hard to listen to him. I was kind of surprised when Trump picked him. I don't know. He kind of came out of nowhere too, but whatever.
Yeah, it may have been the right choice at the time because keep in mind, before he got elected, it was wild to think that he could be elected because of his attitude, his style. We had never seen a president like that, right?
Yeah, true.
So
true.
having somebody who was more the traditional politician, even if we don't like him, sort of helped round out the ticket.
Well, they
for
definitely underestimated him.
And they were saying that would have been the problem. I would have loved it if Newt Gingrich were the vice president, because they were talking about that for a minute.
Yeah.
And could you imagine those two on a ticket together?
Oh, that'd be pretty wild.
It would be insane.
Yeah, I wonder who he will ultimately pick. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought Russ was jumping in. You coming in there, Russ? Come on.
Russ is jumping.
He's got Trump, maybe. That would be interesting if we bring that up. Yeah.
But that would have been if they had Trump and Newt Gingrich. Gingrich's take on that was, you can't have us on the same ticket because he's a pirate and I've always been a pirate. So you can't have two guys like that on the same ticket.
Yeah, I guess there's some truth in that.
Oh, somebody mentioned the plane crash. Do you know anything about the plane crash with the Wagner Group?
No.
Yeah, the leader of the Wagner Group died in a plane crash.
Oh, when did that happen?
Yesterday.
Okay. My schedule's been a little bit hectic lately, so I'm a little behind, to be honest with you, but I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a good friend of mine who's a pilot up in New England, two of his colleagues, unfortunately, perished in a pretty bad crash just a couple days ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so when you were asking me, I didn't know if you were asking about that. It did make national news, but sad situation. Pray for those folks. Yep.
I want to take, I think we'll do it next episode.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, we did have a loss in the Mike G in the Morning family. I've been thinking about how to bring it up. I don't want to just do it at the tail end of an episode. I think we should devote maybe an opening segment.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Russ says I have a feed. I don't know if we can use that.
Russ? Pop it up for the end there.
Might get taken down.
I don't know. I mean, I think under fair use, you can, if we're talking about it, right?
Yeah, can we get we're allowed to use the audio maybe, or?
I think you can use the whole thing if it's on YouTube. We're under fair use, since we're in an actual
We're
show.
commenting on it?
Yeah.
What do we got? Is it?
What do we got there?
Give me a sec.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Russ the producer coming at you live. WFYL, the Freedom Station.
No, just kill it. If it's just this guy talking about it, then never mind.
Okay.
How about everybody? We'll call it a show. Everybody could go watch the statement for themselves.
Yeah, all right.
Say their prayers, take their vitamins.
Yes, sir.
Get
some rest, brother. I know you're on the run again. Get some rest.
Sure am. All right. Well, that was fun, and I guess the moral of the story today is that, in my professional opinion, we are all in big trouble.
There you go.
Very true. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Sounds good.
All right. Peace and love, everybody.
That's all time we got for today. Stick around for We the People. The Constitution Matters. Pastor David Whitney, Professor Phil Duffy. We miss you, Ellie. Daddy loves you.